Stop letting your dog eat grass. Every vet will tell you it's fine. Every article online says don't worry about it. They're not wrong, but they're not telling you the whole story. Because the real reason your dog eats grass, the reason that took scientists decades to figure out, is something that will completely change how you see this behavior. And one of the reasons is something your dog's body is trying to tell you. Something important. Something most owners miss entirely. There are 5 distinct reasons dogs eat grass. Most of them are harmless, but one of them, and you'll know which one by the end of this video, is a signal you should never ignore. The difference between them comes down to 3 things: when your dog does it, how much they eat, and what happens afterward. Let's start from the beginning. Before your dog was a pet, before dogs were pets at all, their ancestors were wolves. And wolves, researchers have documented, regularly consumed grass and plant material, not because they enjoyed the taste, but because of what it did to their digestive system. Grass acts as a natural internal cleanser. In wild canids, eating grass helps purge the digestive tract of parasites, intestinal worms, and other unwanted guests that accumulate from eating raw prey. The grass creates physical irritation in the stomach lining, triggering a purge response that expels whatever shouldn't be there. Your dog no longer hunts. Your dog no longer has intestinal parasites, hopefully, but the instinct to occasionally consume grass is still there, written into their biology over hundreds of thousands of years. It's the same reason dogs circle before lying down, even on a perfectly flat carpet. The behavior has long outlasted the environment it evolved for. When your dog casually grazes on a walk, eating small amounts slowly, without urgency, this is almost always what's happening. Ancient programming running a routine that no longer has a specific purpose, but that the body hasn't stopped doing. It is completely harmless. And here's the number that should put your mind at ease. A 2008 study published in a peer-reviewed journal found that while 68% of dogs regularly eat grass, only 22% of them are ever sick afterward. That means the overwhelming majority of grass eating has nothing to do with illness, but, and this is where it gets important, that leaves 5 reasons that do mean something. Here's one that surprises most dog owners. Dr. Emily Blackwell, a senior lecturer in animal behavior and welfare at the University of Bristol, describes grass eating as a potential displacement behavior. The same psychological mechanism we covered in our video about why dogs bring you toys. A displacement behavior happens when a dog has conflicting emotions it can't resolve. The anxiety builds to a point where the dog needs to do something, anything, to release it. It's like when we're sitting in a dentist's waiting room, Dr. Blackwell explains. We really want to run away, so we do something else, like biting our nails, to relieve the anxiety. Your dog eating grass might be their version of biting their nails. Watch for these patterns. Does your dog eat grass specifically before something stressful? Before you leave for work? Before a car journey? Before visitors arrive? Does it happen in new environments where they seem slightly unsettled? If the answer is yes, the grass isn't the issue. The anxiety is, and addressing the anxiety will usually stop the grass eating on its own. This is important because so many owners focus on the symptom, the grass, instead of the cause, the emotional state underneath it. Your dog isn't sick. Your dog isn't hungry. Your dog is telling you, in the only way available to them, that something feels off. This is the one that will make you smile and possibly feel a little manipulated. Dr. Blackwell and other researchers have documented something fascinating. Some dogs eat grass specifically because of how their owners react to it. You see your dog eating grass. You rush over. You say their name. You tell them to stop. You make a whole thing of it. To your dog, that is attention. That is exactly what they wanted. If owners react to this behavior, then dogs quickly learn it's a good way of getting attention, says Dr. Blackwell. It's not one of the most common attention-seeking behaviors, but it can absolutely develop for that reason. This is the canine equivalent of a toddler misbehaving just to get a reaction. It doesn't matter if the reaction is positive or negative. What matters is that you showed up. And here's the test to know if this is what's happening with your dog. Does your dog eat grass primarily when you're around, but rarely or never when they're alone in the yard? Do they look at you while doing it or right after? Does the behavior increase when you've been busier or less attentive than usual? If yes, your dog has figured out a very effective system, and every time you react, you reinforce it. The solution is counterintuitive. Ignore it completely. Don't rush over. Don't say their name. Redirect their attention to something else without making the grass eating into an event. Dogs are extraordinarily good at reading cause and effect. Once the grass stops producing a reaction, it usually stops being interesting. Now here's the reason that requires you to pay the most attention. Some dogs eat grass because their body is telling them something is missing from their diet, specifically fiber. A study cited by veterinary researchers documented a case where a dog had been eating grass persistently for years. When the owner switched to a higher fiber commercial food, the grass eating stopped. Completely? Dogs need dietary fiber for healthy digestion, and when their food doesn't provide enough, their body seeks it out. Grass is, among other things, a source of roughage, not particularly nutritious, not particularly tasty, but it contains something the dog's digestive system is asking for. This is more likely if your dog eats grass in a specific deliberate way, targeting particular types of grass or plants, eating slowly and selectively, and showing no signs of illness or anxiety before or after. It's their body self-medicating, and it usually means one of two things. Either their current food is lower in fiber than their system needs, or they're eating less than they should be. A simple dietary switch to higher fiber food is often enough to resolve this completely. Talk to your vet about whether your dog's current diet meets their fiber requirements, especially if the grass eating is consistent and deliberate. And now, the reason I mentioned at the beginning. The one most owners miss. There is a specific type of grass eating that is genuinely a warning sign. Here's how to recognize it. Your dog is not grazing casually. They are eating grass urgently, quickly, in large amounts, as if driven by something they can't control. Their body language is tense. They may be drooling. They may be restless or pacing before they start. And after eating the grass, they vomit. This sequence, urgency, large quantities, vomiting, is different from every other type of grass eating, and it matters. When a dog eats grass rapidly and vomits, in most cases, they initiated that process deliberately. They felt nauseated or they felt something wrong in their stomach, and they used grass as a tool to make themselves sick. In most cases, this is temporary, an upset stomach from something they ate, a digestive disruption that resolves on its own. But if this pattern happens repeatedly, if your dog urgently eats grass and vomits more than occasionally, it is a signal worth investigating with a veterinarian. Repeated self-induced vomiting can indicate gastrointestinal disease, acid reflux, or other conditions that need attention. The key distinction is this: slow, casual grazing with no vomiting equals almost always harmless. Urgent, large quantity eating followed by vomiting equals pay attention, especially if it happens more than once a week. Your dog cannot make a vet appointment. They cannot tell you their stomach hurts, but they can eat grass urgently and look at you afterward. That look means something. 5 reasons your dog eats grass. An ancient instinct that outlasted the wolves. Anxiety speaking the only language available. A clever system to get your attention, a body asking for what it's missing. And a warning, quiet, urgent, and specific, that something isn't right. The next time your dog walks over to the grass, before you pull them away, before you tell them no, take 5 seconds to observe. Are they grazing slowly and calmly? Let them. It's 10,000 years of biology doing something harmless. Are they eating urgently with no calm before or after? That's worth noting, and if it keeps happening, worth a call to your vet. Understanding your dog doesn't require a veterinary degree. It just requires paying attention to the details most people walk right past. Subscribe to Good Dog Science, and next week we're going to talk about something your dog does every single day that scientists only recently discovered is far more sophisticated than anyone realized. See you then.